Hey, welcome to the REDX Podcast. Everyone joining in. I'm Robert Sullivan. I'll be your host today. And we are joined today with one of the best. We have Justin Ford that's going to be able to talk to us. Justin, just give a quick hi to everybody as they're logging in.
Hey, everybody. Super excited to be here. Thank you, Robert.
You bet. And Justin, well, just as everyone's logging on, feel free to tell us where you're joining us from in the comments. We'll be keeping an eye on the comments throughout the show because it's a participatory event. So if we've got questions for Justin, let us know, and we'll try to get to them in the next 30 minutes while we're chatting. And of course, so you always know our great guests that are coming up. And where you can listen to more, you can subscribe to our podcast at redx.com/podcast, or wherever you love listening to your podcast. You will find us there and on YouTube. So please subscribe so you always know what's coming up. And welcome, as I see people getting on here now. We're glad to have you. And but Justin, as before we get started, a lot of people may know your name, but if you could just introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about you before we get diving into the topics.
Great. Yeah, again, thanks so much for having me. My name is Justin Ford. I am based out of the Detroit, Michigan area, right in the suburbs. I have been in the industry for the last 18 years. They allow us to get our real estate license here in Michigan when you're 12. Just kidding. But came into the industry at 22 years old, introduced to the mortgage side of the business, went through the 08 crash, had my first taste of commission and what was possible. And I said I wasn't going back to working a regular job. So I got into doing short sales and loan modifications during that down period. And then back in 2013, when the market picked up, I joined the number one real estate team here in Michigan, Jeff Glover and Associates, back in 2013. I was with his company for 3 years, started my own brokerage, and now I'm with EXP. So I've officially been a real estate agent now for 10 years.
All right, and a successful 10 years. So you were humble about what you're doing, but even pre-show, can I brag, Justin, just a little bit? Pre-show, he said, "Hey, I've already got 10 listings this month. Is that right?"
Yep.
And so that's a good month, especially in a month when I think a lot of people are looking at the industry, looking at the landscape of the market, and saying, "Hey, it's getting a little tougher out there."
Yep.
You're succeeding, and that's why we're having you on today. So let's just kind of start there a little bit. For everyone that you're joining because you saw the emails and want to be here and hear from Justin, that we're going to talk about his prospecting techniques and some things that he's doing. But let's kind of start with the lay of the land of what you're seeing in the market right now with your team and what you're doing in Detroit.
Yeah, so I've been selling real estate now for 10 years, and so I've been through a couple of different markets. I came in a down market when things were starting to pick up, experienced, obviously the market over the last couple of years, which I never saw in my existing 10 years, where, it didn't really take much, especially if you were a listing agent, to sell homes. Been tough to be a buyer's agent, but overall the real estate market has been good until, the last 12 months. We've really seen things start to shift, and we knew a shift was coming. A lot of people in the industry have been talking about there's a shift coming, there's a change coming, and we're here. And that's hard, right? That's hard when you're used to selling real estate a certain way, and then it all of a sudden changes. If you're not pivoting when the market pivots, and you're not learning new techniques or doubling down on the techniques that you were already using. I think I saw a statistic that, 60,000 real estate agents have already left the business this year, and it's only going to be more. And so, what we're seeing is, you just got to make some changes. If you plan on being in this business, you've got to pivot. You've got to shift when the market's shifting, when the market's pivoting. And it's so important to, follow a system and a process that helps you do that.
Yeah, I hear you. And we've talked about it on the show too. I think a lot of people are seeing that. And we talked 6 months, 12 months ago. We said, hey, it's going to shift. Here's some good habits that we should have. But all of us, we're a little lazy. We're like, oh yeah, I should do that. But now the time comes, and now there might be a little bit of panic because maybe we knew the shift was coming, but we hadn't made all the changes yet. So what are some of those systems and processes that you do with your team that make you maybe not panic right now?
It's all about conversations, Robert. I'm also a real estate coach, and I travel, the United States and Canada, coaching and training real estate agents. And no matter what group I'm in, no matter what setting I'm in, I always say, if you're not happy with where your income is right now, you're not happy where your pipeline is right now, you're just not happy where your business is altogether, the answer is real simple. You're just not talking to enough people. Everything starts with conversations. And even when you look at the definition of what prospecting is just the first step in the sales process. I know that, the word prospecting is like this icky word that a lot of people associate with picking up the phone and making calls, but prospecting comes in all, shapes and sizes: door knocking, database, social media, getting out there in the community. It's all prospecting. But when I teach my team, what is the fastest way to get to a now deal? It's picking up the phone and making calls. And so, we've remained very consistent with what it is that we're doing. What we're finding is we've got to make more attempts to get more contacts, right? It takes more contacts to get appointments now. And so it's really doubling down with the efforts we're already doing, but it always comes down to conversations. The more conversations you have on a daily basis about real estate, the more opportunities are going to show up. It's a numbers game. We call it the law of averages. The more people you talk to, the more appointments you set. The more appointments you set, the more appointments you go on. The more appointments you go on, the more listings you take, and the more listings you take, the more listings you'll sell. But it all starts with the conversation.
And the math works every time. That's why you just said the process really fast, but it is a math game, right? Like,
it is 100%.
So if you turn this dial up front, that all those other numbers are going to get affected, right? Do you have daily goals of dials or conversations, or is it just, hey, spend this amount of time? How do you manage that for yourself and for your team?
Yeah, literally, I have my tracker right here. My goal today was 20 contacts, 2 appointments set, and I had 24 contacts and 2 appointments set. My goal, depending on how much time I have to prospect, there's some days where my prospecting time is cut short. Sometimes I get the full 3 hours in, but the goal is minimum to set 1 to 2 appointments every day and minimum 15 to 20 contacts. For me, I've been doing it for 10 years. For every 10 people I talk to, my average is I set an appointment. And so, for the new person, it's usually 25 contacts. You set 1 appointment. And so I've got my numbers dialed in really strong. I also use Sisu to be able to track my numbers, know if I'm on track to hit my goals or not. But, it's every day. I will not start my dial session without my daily contact sheet. And I've been doing that for 10 years because it helps me to know where I am. And it also helps me to know, if I'm on track and I'm, hitting my goals.
I love that, Justin, because it's not just theoretical. Like, hey, I'm a coach and I'm telling you these numbers that probably make sense. You're like, here's my sheet from today. And
Yep.
and that my numbers played out exactly how I set my goals and plan to do that. And the other thing I really like is, you say, hey, it takes me about 10 conversations to get an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
But you threw a caveat out there. He's like, oh, but a newer agent might need 25. So that is something important in your market with where your skills are at. You need to know your own numbers to be able to start tracking that.
Yep. And one of the things, especially for those that are watching right now that are maybe newer or even brand new, you can expedite the learning curve of this skill. The more you practice, the more time you invest into internalizing the scripts, role-playing the scripts, writing out the scripts, you can expedite your ability to convert at a higher level. The cool thing is this isn't like a university where everybody has to do 4 years to get the same degree. If you're willing to double down, you're willing to, if the average agent's role playing once a day, role play twice a day. If the average agent's writing out the scripts 3 times a day, write them out 6 times a day. And the more conversations you have and the more you're willing to invest into learning this skill, the faster you're going to see your numbers, convert at a higher level. And that's one of the things that I love about prospecting.
Yeah. And it does. And practice sometimes is actually getting on the phone, right? So you can do your role plays, you can do that, but there's a point where you got to actually make the contact and have the conversation to really learn that skill. And I'm actually going to ask Andrew here, who's in studio with me, if because role play I think is super important. If he'll we have a role play number for a REDX customers that you can
Yeah.
call in. A lot of people don't know that, but just by being a REDX customer, you can call in to our role play line. And we have people here that will practice with you, and you get to choose your level of difficulty 1 to 3, and they'll walk through the role play with you. So we'll throw that in the comments for everybody joining live with us for today can check out on that. So now you have people getting dials, making contacts. Do you turn to certain scripts, or what do you coach or help people when you say, okay, now I'm making my dials, what do I say on the phone?
Yeah. So I'm a coach with Glover U. Jeff Glover started a coaching company, about 4 or 5 years ago. And I started my career with him back in 2013. I sold 100 homes my first year in the business as a solo agent, became his inside sales manager. It was his top agent while I was there for 3 years. And so when I left to go start my own brokerage, I just followed the same system that he taught. And so, the same system I follow today is that same system. So we have our own Glover U scripts. It's funny because you look at the scripts that are available today, like no matter what scripts you use, there's usually a piece here and a piece there from Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry's been around forever. Yeah. Tom Ferry created his scripts. This guy created his script. So it's funny how it all kind of pulls from the same source and everybody kind of puts their twist on it. And what I say is you got to have scripts. You can't try to prospect, winging it or doing your own thing. You've got to follow your scripts. So we use the Glover U scripts, and that's what I teach my team. That's what I have a prospecting boot camp that I teach at Glover U. This is the system that we use. We teach it, so it's not like we're teaching one system and using another. Like, we're following the same scripts we're teaching. We're following the same scripts that are working for our agents, and they work.
And that brought up some questions from some people. How do they find out more about that boot camp? Is there a place they can go to get those scripts from you or join your boot camp?
I'll give out 2 sources.
You're like, I'm glad someone asked.
I'll give out 2 sources here. You can actually text the word scripts. So scripts with an S to 55444 for our free script book. There's no cost for it. We've got every script in there: expired, for sale by owner, just listed, just sold, door knocking, database, listing presentation, buyer presentation. It's all in there. Text the word scripts to 55444, or you can go to gloveru.com/prospecting bootcamp to learn all about the bootcamp. It's a 16-week course that I teach on Mondays, 2 p.m. Eastern, for 1 hour. And we meet on Zoom. I go through 16 different lessons, not only on how to, set expired and for sale by owners, but social media, mindset, database, the 4 personality styles, overcoming objections, and we role play together, and we learn the scripts together. I give you homework every week, and that class actually starts on Monday, July 17th. So we run them twice a year. The other one just ended a couple of weeks ago, and we kick it back off on July 17th on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern.
All right. So good timing. And is there still seats left, I'm guessing? So we
just
put that on the screen for people, and those listening heard you. So, awesome. We got a lot of people want to know more about that. That's great. These are good scripts. Now, you mentioned some of the scripts that you use. And that brought up some other questions. Are there certain lead types that you tend to use more of? Do you use several different types? Do you start with one and move to another? What are some lead types that you're using right now that are being effective?
So every day I start off calling expireds, and then I move over to for sale by owners. One of the things that I love about the REDX dialer is the ability to get in front of more people with the triple line dialer. And so it's having more conversations, getting people to answer at a higher level, and then getting through all the expireds. I move over to for sale by owners. And I know a lot of people shy away from for sale by owners because they just feel there's more rejection or it takes longer to convert. For sale by owners is actually my favorite source to call, because they usually only have that one objection, and it's really the commission objection, because they don't feel like they can accomplish their goal by paying a commission. But if you're able to overcome that objection and at least get them to believe that there's an opportunity that they can, 9 times out of 10, you're going to set the appointment. And so I absolutely love calling expireds and for sale by owners.
That's good. And you mentioned objections. So in FSBO, you kind of have a standard one. What What objections are you seeing? Are they any different than like the market over the last couple of years, where maybe there wasn't as many expireds? But what objections are you seeing in expireds right now in the shifted market?
I think where we are in the market right now, if a house is expiring, even though things have slowed down a little bit, things are still I mean, we have no inventory here, and I think most markets across the country don't have a lot of inventory. So we have to keep in mind that if a home is expiring in this market, it's overpriced. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Or, it wasn't marketed properly, because in most markets, if there's not a lot of inventory, there's no reason why a home shouldn't sell, and even still with multiple offers. And so when you are obviously having a conversation with an expired, they're still frustrated their home didn't sell. Some of them, want to just take it off the market. And here's what I will say. Some of them purposely started at a high level, kind of like a make me move situation, where they saw these inflated prices. They see, their neighbor sold for this, or their buddy got, $100,000 over asking price. So they find an agent who's willing to just like list it in an absurd amount. It doesn't sell. And they're like, well, if I can't get my amount, then I wasn't really going to sell. And then I tap into it and dig a little bit deeper. Like, well, what was the main reason why you were looking to sell in the first place? And when I find out there's really no motivation there, I just move on. Because if they don't have the motivation and it's all about just getting a specific number and the comps just aren't there, it's just a waste of time.
I like what you said, and maybe I almost didn't catch it, but what was important in that isn't just this specific case, but what you're doing probably every call, and that's finding their motivation, right? Why were they trying to sell in the first place?
Yep.
Because that's actually gonna tell you their true objection, right? If you can
Absolutely.
what are some questions that you're asking people, or the conversation you're having to get to that nugget of information?
Yeah. So, I'll just kind of, if we can just role play a little bit, and I'll just say,
Okay.
I'll say, Robert, the reason for my call is I'm sure you're already aware. It looks like your home came off the market this morning as an expired listing. And I was just calling to see, when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of helping you sell?
Oh, well, I'm hoping to get it right back on. I might just use the same guy that I had.
Okay. I can appreciate that. And what do you think stopped your home from selling?
Man, if I knew that, I probably would have sold it already. So I don't know. It just didn't work out.
Okay. I can appreciate that. And had the home sold, where were you moving to?
Oh, I got to go to Hawaii, man. I got to get out of here.
Hawaii. That's exciting. And what takes you there?
The weather, for sure.
I mean, I think that's probably why most people move to Hawaii. And Robert, how soon did you want to be there?
A month ago.
A month ago. So that's how I would do it and even if you would have said, well, we just decided to take it off the market. What I find a lot of times is agents then at that point, say, well, hey, if I can get you the amount, or I can get you more money, or this, that, or the other, rather than asking the question, well, you know what, Robert, I can appreciate that you want to take it off the market. What was the main reason why you were looking to sell in the first place? Now I'm tapping back into that motivation. And if they say, well, we were looking to move to Hawaii. Wow, Hawaii, that's exciting. Now, in my mind, nobody just picks up and moves to Hawaii for no reason.
Yeah.
That's not like you're moving just down the street, right? And so the purpose of, the script, and if you're watching right now, I really want you to understand this. The purpose of the script is to ask questions that give you the answers you need in order to close, to discover their motivation, to understand their timeline. Every question on a script should give you the information you need to know how to close and to use that to your advantage. And so most agents do not ask the right questions. And there's a saying that I love to say: selling is not telling, selling is asking questions. And so a lot of times we're like, well, I'm the greatest agent in the market. We do this and we do that, and we sell this many homes and we do all these fancy things. No. What was the main reason why you were looking to sell in the first place? How soon did you want to be there? What takes you there? What do you think stopped your home from selling? It doesn't matter how great I am at that point. They're getting bombarded with calls, but I need to find out what's going on, why their home didn't sell, why were they selling in the first place, and then come along and give a solution that if I can give you a second opinion and show you how to get to Hawaii sooner than later before winter, what would stop you from at least wanting to take a look at that if there's no cost or obligation to you? It doesn't matter how great I am. I don't even ever have to tell them how great I am. I'll do that, on the appointment, or if they ask me, well, what do you think you can do differently? I may give them a little bit of our value proposition, but I'm going to save a lot of that for the appointment. And so that's, I think, is you have to find out their motivation. If you don't know their motivation, you're wasting your time.
I love it, and I love the script. And we have 2 questions. Amanda wants to know about the challenging commissions for a FSBO. She wants to hear a role play or the questions that you ask on a FSBO who's challenging commissions.
I love this. So Robert, go along with me. The first question I'm going to ask you. So Robert, what was the main reason why you decided to sell it yourself rather than list it with an agent?
Oh, well, I think I can navigate this selling process out, and that's going to save me some money by not paying a commission.
Okay, great. So what I hear you saying is you want to walk away with as much money as possible, correct?
Of course.
Yep, absolutely. That is why you sell by owner, right?
That's right.
And so, Robert, I'm sure you've come up with a bottom line number that you can't go below to where it wouldn't make sense to sell, right?
Yeah, that's why I listed it for what I did. I need to make that money.
Yep. And Robert, as long as you get that number, does it really matter how you sell or how much commission you pay, as long as you get what you want at the closing table?
I mean, ultimately, yeah, I want to get that money out of the house. I do think I can do it myself, but I want to get that money out of my house. And so if I need to do it myself, that's how I'll do it.
Awesome. And so if there was a way I could show you how to put that same amount of money in your pocket or more and help you sell it sooner than later, take all the headaches and hassles away from you and help you get to the closing table sooner, what would stop you from at least wanting to take a look at that if there's no cost or obligation to you?
I mean, I've got a lot of people calling saying the same thing. I don't know. I think that I could really do it myself.
Yep.
But I don't even know if it's possible to sell it for more money than I listed. So I don't know how that could happen.
Well, Robert, I can appreciate that. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but only 2% of for sale by owners actually sell. 98% end up listing it with an agent. And if you are lucky enough, Robert, to be a part of that 2%, they only usually net about 88% of asking price. Whereas my team and I, we're selling anywhere from 98 to 100% of asking price. So even if you backed out the 6% and we were at 98%, Robert, what would you rather walk away with, 88% or 92% of your list price?
92% would be better.
Great. So I would love to be able to sit down with you and show you exactly how we could do that. What works better for you, tonight between 4 and 5 or tomorrow between 5 and 6?
It sounds like you might have had this conversation before, Justin.
Yep, all day. and here's one thing that we teach in our prospecting boot camp is there's two salespeople when you're on the call, right? With the for sale by owner, it's you and it's the for sale by owner. They're trying to sell you as to why they don't need you, and you're trying to sell them on why they need you. And guess who wins that conversation? The one that has the most conviction and the one that really truly believes that what they're saying is right. And as agents, we have to show up with such a conviction and confidence that we truly believe in our heart that they're leaving money on the table and that you can offer something better for them. And that's why I convert at such a high level, because I know, like, very rarely does a for sale by owner net what they want to net. Very rarely, even when they're trying to save 3% commission, do they even get anywhere near what an agent can get them paying a full commission. And because I believe that with all that I am, it shows up in my conversation. It shows in my presentation. And that's why I convert for sale by owners at such a high level, because in their mind, they don't think selling with an agent is going to get them what they need. And in the reality is, if they list with an agent, especially in this market, they should definitely net more, even paying a commission.
I love it. Everyone else is loving it. Had some questions about, are those numbers in the script? The numbers are NAR numbers. Those are
NAR numbers. Those are not in the script, but we do teach those in the prospecting boot camp. And if I can give out my email, or if you follow me on social media and you reach out to me, I have a list of objections that we do include only for the prospecting boot camp, but I'd be willing to share those with you guys for being a guest here on the show today. And so if I can give out my email address, Robert, or my social
let's do
media.
that. And we'll put it on the bottom of the screen for those viewing, and for those listening, listen hard.
Yeah. So my email is just real simple, justin@justinfordteam.com. And then you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at the official Justin Ford. I thought I was special until I realized there's 100 of us, but there can only be one official Justin Ford. So I had to lock that name in. So I am at the official Justin Ford on all the social media platforms.
All right. So I think this is easy to remember, even if you can't see the screen. Justin at justinfordteam.com
Yep.
or at the official Justin Ford.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
We'll find you, and we've got lots of people wanting those scripts. So they're commenting on that. So they'll make sure to be able to connect with you there. Justin, we are running a little bit short on time.
No worries.
So we're going to have you come back, because
I'll be glad to.
We could role play all day. This is a lot of fun.
That's what I love.
But I want to make sure that kind of you have the last word. Is there anything that we didn't get to talk about, or just some last word you want to leave with the audience today?
Absolutely. Guys, if this was easy, everybody would do it. I always say it's simple, but it's not easy. There's two things that everybody watching this podcast right now absolutely have to invest into. Number one is your skills, role play, writing out the scripts, making sure you follow a system. But number two, it's your mindset. It's your mindset. Mindset is the number one thing that usually keeps people back from doing this. Fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, not wanting to hear the word no, not wanting to be rejected. And if you can learn how to overcome those limiting beliefs that you have around prospecting, and you're willing to show up and you're willing to follow the process, it's only a matter of time until the numbers start showing up. Because like Robert and I said earlier, it's just a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. Justin, thank you. The whole reason we have this podcast is, you go back to something you said, a stat that you quoted about 60,000 agents leaving. People get discouraged, and there's high turnover in this industry.
Yep.
But what we hope is week in and week out, we have people like you that come in and can infuse us with that hope of the right mindset, the right habits, the right systems and tools. They will produce those results. Yep. And so thank you so much for coming in and sharing, and honestly sharing a lot for free, what is part of your coaching program. Yep. So thank you for giving that insight. Absolutely. And helping so many people out in the industry. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks for having me here. And thank you to REDX. Appreciate it.
And thank you everyone else for joining in today. We appreciate having you on the show live, or those that are listening wherever you tune in to your podcast this week. We hope to have you back next week. So don't forget to subscribe at redx.com/podcast, and we will see you next week. Thanks.